funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland with the television licence fee.
This is the Be Loud Glade, a series of experimental podcasts presenting views and opinions about the Irish contemporary poetry scene, from the vantage points of both page and stage, that is, from publishing and performance. Each program also includes a contemporary poem set to specially composed music. In this edition, we hear from the poet Gerry Murphy, followed by his poem What's He Doing in There?, voiced by Ethan Dillon, with music by Roger Gregg.
It wasn't a poetry event, it was a slam, it was a spoken word event, which I find rather shouty. People, I don't mind, you have a microphone in these events usually, and I can't stand people shouting at the microphones, because microphones will actually project your voice. You don't need to shout into a microphone. And usually the content is much weaker than page poetry, shall we say. So you need to make it louder and need to sort of distract from the fact that the content is pretty weak, so you make noise. I think sometimes the actual performance poetry are more about the poet than the actual work itself. And you're not meant to really get the words, really. It's more, oh, Jesus, look at me. There's too many performance poets who should be in therapy. Somebody who's going through some sort of trauma, and they're going through it publicly with an audience. And sometimes I think that's very private. It shouldn't be out there in that sense. You should be on a couch and somebody should be listening to you. There's this sort of the cryptogram type poet that you feel you have to work your way to the centre, and then when you get to the centre there's nothing. There is a lot of poetry like that seems to be deep and profound, and it's usually deep and meaningless. There's a school of thought that says that the actual meaning of the poem has to be buried in about 15 different allusions to some Greek poem which alludes to some other Greek poem, and it has to go through 5 or 6 different hoops before you can actually work out the actual poem itself. And I can't, for the life of me, appreciate that, because if you get all the allusions, well then where's the poem gone? It's something that's piggybacking on so many different things. Well, of course, it's the academic side of it as well. Is that Joyce is notably talking about the fact that Ulysses would keep the critics busy for 100 years afterwards, and that sort of notion that you're writing complex, so complex that somebody has to work it out, and where's the enjoyment in that in the long run? There's the whole thing about the holiness, the sort of high priests of poetry, and that if a poem isn't difficult, well then it's not worth its salt, that you have to work it out. I don't agree with that. Too many poets are too solemn for their own good. I am writing a poem now, and you must give me your complete attention. That sort of high priest is kind of talking down to you and saying, you worm. And there's a kind of a reverse kind of snobbery about that then. Oh yes, well I'm poor, I'm a poet, but it's worth it, and nobody reads me, and I'm going to die alone in a garret and never going to be appreciated. Maybe 300 years time somebody will find a scrap, and then they'll say, oh, look at this is indecipherable. I had, you had experience in school with a poem or poetry, and that can actually turn you onto it or turn you off for life. And it happens so much. People, you talk to people and you say, I never buy a poetry book, you must be joking. The market is the proof too, because I think poetry sales are 1% of all market sales in literature worldwide, and it's been like that for years. The funny thing is, I don't read much poetry. I'd go back to the old masters, like the Homer and Dante and all the rest of them. But as for contemporary poetry, I read very, very little of it. I don't think it sounds strange, I don't think I'm interested in poetry per se.
What's he doing in there? He's found a portal to the nearest star in the wardrobe, and he's ferrying highly unstable dark matter across the Milky Way every night in his dead mother's handbag.
What's going in there?
He's hopping around the bedroom saying the rosary. He's reenacting the last 5 minutes of the All-Ireland hurling final of 1952 with a broken chair leg and a rolled-up sock to his own whispered commentary.
He hits the sliotar with his hurl. Up and it's a high, lobbling, dropping ball coming into the square there.
What's he doing in there?
He's dropping his left shoe and placing his right shoe softly on the floor. He's building a particle accelerator in an old hat box, with which he intends to mimic the conditions immediately before or immediately after the Big Bang.
What's he doing in there?
He's cooking a mousse. He's repairing a small tear in the space-time continuum. Space-time continuum. Before it gets any bigger and threatens the continuing existence of the universe.
What's he doing in there?
He's trimming his toenails. He's constructing an ark out of broken furniture, following the precise biblical dimensions. So far, he has a stray cat, a dead hamster, and a mange-ridden dog scratching around in its massive hold. He's wondering what I'm doing in here.
That was Gerry Murphy's poem, What's He Doing in There?, published by Daedalus Press, set to music composed and performed by Roger Gregg and voiced by Ethan Dillon, with additional percussion by Andy O'Farrell. Find out more about Gerry Murphy at daedaluspress.com. Originally broadcast by RTE Lyric FM and funded by the Broadcasting Authority of Ireland, Roger Gregg's Be Loud Glade is a Dead Medium production with executive producer Gareth Stack.
You lot aren't ready for bingo. Just give me a second.